Good evening and welcome to Kini News. Bersatu-splinter party Pejuang has questioned the Registrar of Societies over their application to have their party officially registered.
Bersatu-splinter party Pejuang has urged Home Affairs Minister Hamzah Zainudin and the Registrar of Societies to decide quickly and clearly on the official registration of the party. In a statement today, Pejuang Secretary General Amiruddin Hamzah said that they had first sent a complete written and online application to the ROS Director General to approve the party on August 19th. He said, after 2 months, there were still no signs that Pejuang's application will be approved. In the statement, Amiruddin listed the chronology of events since their application. He said that on September 15th, Pejuang had contacted the ROS to request for a meeting, which was later held on September 28th, where the ROS suggested a few changes to the party's constitution. A few days later, on October 2nd, the party handed over its amended constitution again to the ROS for processing. On October 12th, Pejuang wrote to the ROS again to ask about the status of the application, and another similar letter was sent to Hamzah on October 22nd. Amiruddin said that Pejuang had also sent another request to the ROS on October 22nd to use their logo and their website while awaiting the decision on their registration application. However, he said they did not receive any written response from Hamzah or from the ROS on all their requests. Amiruddin pointed out that the delay in Pejuang's application is very different from the registration of 2 other parties, which are Parti Makkal Sakti Malaysia, which had their application approved in 2 weeks, as well as Perikatan Nasional, which was approved very quickly. As such, he said the Pejuang Committee would once again call for the Home Minister and the ROS Director General to make an immediate and clear decision so that the registration of Pejuang can be approved according to the law.
The AMNO Supreme Council is meeting tonight and they are expected to be discussing their choice of a candidate for the Deputy Prime Minister's post.
The AMNO Supreme Council will convene tonight for the second time this week, supposedly to set out their terms of cooperation with Perikatan Nasional. They will also be discussing who among them will be their candidate for Deputy Prime Minister. A source told Malaysia Kini that the AMNO leadership will meet to determine the name that will be submitted, as well as terms that will be presented to Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin. Earlier this week, it was reported that Muhyiddin was waiting for AMNO to name their choice for his deputy. According to AMNO sources, 3 names are being considered for the post. They are Party Deputy President Muhammad Hassan, Party Vice President Ismail Sabri Yaakob, and Sembrong AMNO Division Chief Hishamuddin Hussein. In a Facebook post today, Hishamuddin addressed the speculations naming him as a possible candidate. Hishamuddin denied making any effort to position himself to become the Deputy Prime Minister. He said the most important thing that should be the focus for the government and AMNO is on the coming Parliament meeting, Budget 2021, and managing the COVID-19 crisis, not positions.
A total of 25 members of Parliament have filed motions of no confidence against Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin.
25 opposition lawmakers have filed motions of no confidence against Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin in the Dewan Rakyat. This is according to a draft of the order paper for the November 2nd sitting of Parliament. Meanwhile, 2 MPs have filed motions of confidence in support of Muhyiddin. The 2 motions of confidence supporting Muhyiddin are from RO MP Shaidan Kasim and Pasir Putih MP Nik Muhammad Zawawi Saleh. The motions of no confidence were filed by Langkawi MP Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and 4 lawmakers aligned to him, 7 MPs from Warisan, 11 from Amanah, and 1 each from PKR and DAP. According to Lembah Pantai MP Fahmi Fazil, Parliament will send a copy of the order paper with all the questions and motions submitted to the MPs. However, the order paper is meant as a guide and is subject to change. The first motion of no confidence according to the current order is from Mahathir's ally, Kubang Pasu MP Amiruddin Hamzah at number 18. This is followed by Zawawi's confidence motion. At present, it is unlikely that the House will debate any of these motions. Under the standing orders, government business is given priority to be debated in the House first, meaning bills for new laws and amendments from the administration go first. A bill to debate and pass Budget 2021 is also expected to be added later, and the government may add or withdraw other bills as well. The budget debate is scheduled to take place from November 9th to December 10th.
The Sultan of Selangor has called on all politicians to unite and to strive to find the best solution so that the people can continue to live in peace and harmony. The Sultan of Selangor, His Majesty Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, has called for the noble values and wisdom of Prophet Muhammad in uniting the people to be used as a model by politicians to unite and support the government's efforts in the fight against COVID-19. In a message posted on the Facebook page of the Royal Selangor office today, he said the people are facing an economic crisis that is collapsing due to the COVID-19 pandemic, so politicians should unite and strive to find the best solution to ensure the people continue to live in peace and harmony. The Sultan added that unity, stability and prosperity are important to continue the development agenda, build strength and uphold the country's sovereignty. His Majesty called on Muslims to continue to appreciate and live their daily life by the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah that were left by the Prophet. He also called on the people to appreciate and practice the teachings of Islam as taught by Prophet Muhammad. Malaysia recorded 649 new cases of COVID-19 and no new deaths today.
The Health Ministry reported 649 new COVID-19 cases today, of which 7 cases were imported cases. 5 of the imported cases involved travel from Indonesia, and 1 each from India and the Philippines. No new deaths were reported, while recovered cases exceeded new cases for the first time in nearly a month. Sabah continued to record the highest number of cases with 352, followed by Selangor with 132. Negeri Sembilan had 43 cases, and Kedah recorded 37. There are 106 patients in the intensive care, with 23 of them requiring ventilator support.
Coming up after the break, 2 of Europe's largest economies have imposed new nationwide restrictions as COVID-19 cases continue to surge across the continent. We'll be right back. Welcome back. French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Angela Merkel have ordered their countries back into lockdown as a second wave of COVID-19 sweeps across Europe. France and Germany ordered sweeping new lockdown measures on Wednesday as a new wave of COVID-19 cases surge across the continent. Under the new French measures, which come into force on Friday, people will be required to stay in their homes except to buy essential goods, seek medical attention, or exercise for up to 1 hour a day. Schools will remain open, but other non-essential public places like bars and restaurants will have to close.
Like in the spring, you will be able to leave your house only to work, for a medical appointment, to provide assistance to a relative, to shop for essential goods, or to get some air near your house. This means the return of the permission slip. The commerce that had been defined in the spring as non-essential, establishments that welcome the public, especially bars and restaurants, will remain closed.
Similar measures were announced earlier on Wednesday in Germany. Germany will shut bars, restaurants and theatres from the 2nd to the 30th of November under measures agreed upon between German Chancellor Angela Merkel and heads of regional governments.
We demand from people to refrain from private travels and visits, including visiting relatives if these travels are not absolutely necessary. This also goes for tourist visits and day trips. Overnight stays in Germany will only be allowed for essential, non-tourist purposes. We will drastically cut back on leisure activities, theaters, operas, concert houses, and similar institutions, fairs, cinemas, and amusement parks.
The latest figures from the World Health Organization on Tuesday showed Europe reporting 1.3 million new cases in the past 7 days, with over 11,700 deaths, a 37% jump over the previous week. While leaders have been desperate to avoid the crippling cost of lockdowns, the new restrictions reflect alarm at the galloping pace of the pandemic from Spain, France and Germany to Russia, Poland and Bulgaria. Protests have spread in some Muslim-majority countries against France over the use of some cartoons featuring the Prophet Muhammad and also comments made by their President Emmanuel Macron. Hundreds in Somalia marched in Mogadishu against French President Emmanuel Macron on Wednesday, protesting comments he made about Islam. The crowd of mostly youthful demonstrators gathered at a busy junction leading to the airport, chanting anti-French slogans and burning French flags. They were responding to calls by clerics to come out and condemn France and boycott French products.
We are protesting against the French president who insulted our Prophet Muhammad. and we are marching from KM4 to Said Road and back to KM4 and burning the French flag. We are full of emotion.
Earlier this month, a man of Chechen origin beheaded Samuel Paty, a teacher who had shown pupils cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad during a civics lesson on the freedom of speech. That prompted Macron to pledge to fight what he called, quote, Islamist separatism, saying that it was threatening to take over some communities in France. His comments sparked anger among some Muslims across the world. Protesters also took to the streets in India's western city of Mumbai and in Bangladesh on Wednesday. Protesters in India carried flags and posters reading France plus Macron, disaster for mankind. In Dhaka, hundreds of Bangladeshi Muslims took to the streets of the capital for a third consecutive day, chanting slogans such as, quote, boycott French products and burning effigies of Macron, whom they described as an enemy of Islam. France's foreign ministry on Tuesday issued safety advice to French citizens in Indonesia, Turkey, Bangladesh, Iraq, and Mauritania, advising them to exercise cautions as calls to boycott French products grow in Muslim-majority countries. Following violent protests, Philadelphia officials have imposed a citywide after-dark curfew beginning Wednesday. Philadelphia officials imposed a citywide after-dark curfew on Wednesday, seeking to avert a third night of violence amid protests over the shooting of Walter Wallace Jr., a black man, by police in the United States on Monday. This came a day after Walter's father appealed for calm. His father had called on protesters to stop looting and causing chaos on Tuesday night.
That's all I'm saying now is the SOS to help, not to hurt and cause no chaos, violent, looting, fire, all this thing. Because I wasn't brought up like that. I don't know what's going on, and I hope people show my family and the city some kind of respect. Because I like me, I ain't got time to loot and burn up and destroy where I live. It's uncalled for. It really is.
The streets of Pennsylvania's largest city have been tense since Walter was gunned down by two police officers responding to what his relatives say was a call for assistance with a mental health crisis. His death set off 2 nights of looting and periodic skirmishes between police in riot gear and protesters decrying the looting, as the latest instance of racially biased policing in the U.S. criminal justice system. The turmoil turned Philadelphia into the latest flashpoint over racial justice just days ahead of the United States presidential election on Tuesday. It caps months of protests ignited by the May 25th death of George Floyd, a black man in handcuffs as he was pinned by his neck to the street under the knee of a white Minneapolis policeman. And that's all we have time for. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also get the latest news from KiniTV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to wear your mask when going out, and also please practice social distancing if you do go out. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe, Malaysia.